All right, welcome guys to the NBA live stream for Thursday 6-game slate. I'm excited to talk about this one. I think it's a pretty interesting one. There's some value, not a lot, but I definitely think it's the slate is setting up for more of that stars and scrubs build, and kind of hope that some of the value you played don't kill you. So let's go over what we know so far. First, let me scroll back to the beginning of the day. Then we'll take a look at the Vegas odds, then we'll kind of go team by team. So we got news. Cleveland is in. Porzingis is out. So curious to see what Dallas does with the starting lineup. Dallas, kind of like Washington, you can never really trust their centers. So it's like whoever starts is playable, but we saw at Dwight Powell that there is no guarantee of the minutes. Same thing with Washington, right? We've seen games where Alex Len has started and played like 3-4 minutes. Mo Wagner has started and played like 3 minutes total. So there's always that risk there with those teams and their centers. Seth Curry is available to play. Some of the stuff is for Friday. Shaman available to play as well. Again, Porzingis out. Kleba probable. Kleber available to play. Alfred Payton now is a game time decision. He was doubtful earlier in the day, so that's pretty big news. That's where we're getting some value for sure with guys like D Rose and Emmanuel quickly. It kind of depended on who starts, but both those guys firmly in play in a really good matchup if there's no Alfred Payton. And then Nerlens Noel, we just got news that he's a game time decision. If he's out, like Taj Gibson probably becomes the best value play of the day if he starts the center. So again, we got to monitor some of this news. Hopefully get that somewhat soon. Taking a look at the Vegas odds, we have Dallas and Philly. It's a 229 over under. The Philadelphia 76ers are 5-point favorites. Magic and Nets, a 229 over under. The Nets are 9-point favorites. Kings, Knicks, 225 over under. The Knicks are 1-point favorites. Clippers and Grizzlies is a 225.5 over under. The Clippers are 8-point favorites. Wizards, Nuggets, a 238 over under. The Nuggets are 7.5-point favorites. And Pelicans, Bucks, a 243 over under. The Bucks are 8-point favorites. All right, so let's start off with the first game here in Dallas and Philadelphia. All right, what's going on, guys? Good to see you guys. Good to see you as well. All right, so let's talk about Dallas and Philly. On the Dallas side, again, no Kristaps Porzingis, so Luka Doncic at the top. Definitely in play. Is he a must-play as far as the spin-up goes? No, because there's a lot of other good spin-ups in the slate, but Luka's definitely up there. With no Porzingis, he is going to be the clear guy offensively. Should play 35-plus minutes. Obviously has triple-double upside. So I do like Luka there at the top if you can get to him. Now, as far as the bigs, again, I mentioned with Cauley-Stein, Boban, Dwight Powell, we don't know what they're going to do with the starting lineup. I'm guessing it's kind of be like a rotation like it was last game with those centers. It was Dwight Powell that started but barely played. Boban actually got a little bit of run, but he's someone that like kind of is fringe in the rotation, fringe out. You never really know. You can take a shot at him at min price and hope the minutes are there. I'm fine taking a shot at Boban. This is a bigger Philadelphia team. They might need him. So like, maybe he plays 10 to 15 minutes. And Boban is a really solid point per minute guy. So, like, you can take a shot at him for GPPs. If I'm going to take a shot on one of the value Dallas centers, I think it would be Boban. Again, Cauley-Stein also in the mix, but none of those guys I feel really, really confident in. As far as the other value plays, Maxi Kleber now back. We got to see. I haven't seen anything of a minutes limit for him yet. So I'm assuming we probably get normal minutes of like somewhere around 25 to 30, which makes him just a fair value play. With him coming back, though, that kind of hurts the upside of guys like Brunson. Hardaway Jr. makes them a little bit riskier. Still have interest in those guys, but if I had to pick one of these guys, I think it would be Brunson. I think he probably plays somewhere around 25-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more, and he's been a solid point per minute guy. I'm moving on to Philly. So really it's Joel Embiid that I like a lot. I think he will be low on the slate. Again, there's so many good spin-ups. He's had back-to-back bad shooting games, 6 of 23 of 13. This is kind of the get-right spot. Also, again, below 10K. So I do like Embiid a lot at the top. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, no thank you. Seth Curry coming back takes the value out of play for Philadelphia. All right, let's move on to Orlando and Brooklyn. So this game definitely has some upset here. Two teams that don't play a whole lot of defense. Vucevic at the top. Again, I'm going to, basically all these stars are in good spots. I'm going to like all these stars. You're just going to have to make some really tough calls with these guys. Vucevic, another one I think will fly under the radar. I think, the spin-up center that'll probably be the most popular is Jokic. If you want to pivot off that, again, you can go to Vooch. You can go to Embiid. I think both have similar upside. I think both will be lower owned. Vooch should be able to feast against his front court. I think, again, he will be low owned, but definitely in play for tournaments. Not super interested in Fournier and Ross. I do like the matchup, but both of them almost 7K. I'm probably going to pass. MCW's to fair play at 5.6, probably plays about 30 minutes. Again, it is a good matchup. Value-wise, there's a couple guys I think are viable here. Alfaro Camino's at 3.5. Minutes are slowly ticking up in him. 13, then 19, then 22. If he plays like 25 minutes at 3.5 in this matchup, yeah, I can see him getting you there. Also, James Ennis, minutes slowly ticking up in him. 15, then 21, then 24. Not a super high usage guy, but again, anyone basically in this matchup can get it done. So those two, again, risky plays. Don't really feel good about either, but those are probably two value guys to look to on the Orlando side. Moving on to Brooklyn, it's Harden, Kyrie at the top. Love Harden here. Again, just the triple-double upside here, the floor of the assist, the huge minutes. He's playing like 4 or 5 minutes more than Kyrie every game. Yeah, I love Harden as a spend-up. He is one of the best spend-ups in my opinion. Kyrie Irving, with Harden, in my opinion, being pretty popular, I think he will fly under the radar. If you can't get to Harden, though, I'm fine settling with Kyrie. We haven't seen as much upside as Harden, but he's still a guy that can go for 50 plus for sure. And he's priced below 9K. So I do have some interest in Kyrie if you can't get to Harden. I probably wouldn't play them both unless you're just full game stacking. DeAndre Jordan, no thank you at that price. Joe Harris, I'll pass. We're still waiting on Jeff Green news. He is questionable. I think we got TLC in, Shamet in. So it's like, I don't really like any of the Brooklyn Nets value, to be honest. All right, guys, 2 games up. We are at already 300 viewers, 35 likes. Thank you guys so much. Again, if you do enjoy this content, hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. Let's try to get to 100 likes before the end of the show. All right, moving on to Sacramento and New York. All right, let's refresh Fantasy Labs. Let's make sure we're up to date here. Okay, we are all up to date. So on the Sacramento side, there's not a ton of love here. The Knicks have actually been pretty solid defensively, so I would say more contrarian plays. Fox, again, with all the good spend ups in the slate, will be low owned. Am I prioritizing him? No, but he's got 50 plus fantasy point upside. So again, more of a contrarian play. Halliburton's had back-to-back really solid games. Again, more of a contrarian play though. I'm not really looking to Buddy Hield or Barnes. Rashawn Holmes is probably my favorite play in the Sacramento Kings side. I think we get 25-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more. He's flashed some upside, right? He's a solid point per minute guy, so I am intrigued by him in GPPs. I think he does have some upside. With no Whiteside, Bagley has actually played some backup 5. I'm expecting probably around 30 minutes from him. And decent play as well. So both bigs are actually okay. Probably would prefer taking a shot on Holmes, but that's really it for Sacramento. Moving on to New York. Love Randall at the top. Again, like I said, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, guys. But really, all the spend ups are in really, really good spots. So it's like, you got to make some really, really tough calls. But yeah, Randall is one of them, priced at 9-1 in this matchup. I mean, basically anyone against the Kings. I love targeting players against the Kings. I love targeting players against the Nets. So yeah, Julius Randle should play 35 plus minutes. Love him here. Nerlens Noel, this is pretty big news. He is now a game time decision. He was probable, so we'll see. If he can't go, I assume Taj Gibson starts at the 5. If he does, then he becomes one of the best value plays of the slate. And then you have the guards. We got to keep an eye on Alfred Payton. Also really big news. He is game time decision. If he is out, it's going to be Quickly and D Rose that become 2 of the better value plays of the slate. Probably would prefer whoever starts. Minutes have been a little bit inconsistent for both these players, but that's because Alfred Payton was playing a lot more. Now if Payton's out, Rose, Quickly look really good, both for value. They're both solid point per minute guys. It's just a matter of will the minutes be there. Now my one concern here is, do they add Austin Rivers to this point guard rotation and go back to that 3-headed monster, and then maybe Rose and Quickly don't play as much as we think, right? I don't think a lot of people are considering this, but I think this is a possibility where if there's no Alfred Payton, they add Austin Rivers to this rotation, hurts the minutes for obviously Quickly and Rose. So got to consider that. I think it's possible they might do that. But that's really it for New York. Moving on to the Clippers and the Grizzlies. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George will go overlooked in the slate, again, with all the star power on it, with guys like Jokic and Giannis and Luka and Randall and Harden. There's just so many good spend-ups that these guys will both go overlooked. But both price points look pretty solid. 9.3 for Kawhi, 8.8 for Paul George. I would say they're more contrarian. I don't think they're either priorities. And with those two being healthy, it really just takes everyone else out of play for me on the Clipper side. No one else I'm really into. On the Memphis side, John Morant, Jonas Valanciunas, but only for tournaments. Kind of like the Kings. They're not priorities for me. Now, John Morant does have 50-plus fantasy point upside. So again, he's viable for tournaments. Same thing with JV. Mints been trending down a little bit, though, with Clark back. Other than that, we got to keep an eye on Dylan Brooks news. He is currently questionable. If he's out, that's a few more minutes probably for those like fringe guys on the bench. Guys like Winslow, Tillman, Desmond Bane. Winslow did play 26 minutes last game, shot 1 of 10. He shot the ball terribly, 3 of 14, 1 of 10. But if there's no Dylan Brooks, I'm guessing we get over 20 minutes from Justice Winslow, and he's been getting shots up. He just hasn't been hitting them. So would have some interest in him for value. All right, 2 games left, guys. Let's refresh Fantasy Labs. Let's make sure we're up to date here. Okay, Kleber available. Yep, Carter Williams, Fournier, Ennis, Aminu, and Vooch for the Magic. That's kind of what we expected. Washington and Denver. Westbrook, Beal look good at the top. Again, it sounds like a broken record. I do prefer Westbrook to Beal, though, because he stuffs the stat sheet. I think he will be a little bit lower owned, but this is one of the higher over-unders of the slate, almost 240. Denver's not been great defensively, so I do like Westbrook a good amount at the top. Again, don't mind Beal, but would rather get to Westbrook, not get into Rui. Got to keep an eye on Bertans' news. He is currently questionable. If he does miss, you could throw like a Denny Avdija into the player pool. Again, low usage guy, but like if he starts, he probably plays like over 20 minutes, so you could use him at almost min price. And then just like the Dallas rotation at center, it is really, really hard to trust the Washington Wizards centers. It just is, right? So Mo Wagner, the last game against Denver, he started and literally played 3 minutes. But this previous game against the Clippers, he played 25 minutes and was really good. Again, he's a good point per guy. It's just a matter of will the minutes be there. So like you can take a shot here, but just know there's a chance he only plays like 5 minutes. And I think it was Robin Lopez, I want to say, that played the most. Yeah, he played 27 minutes last time they played Denver. And you can do it. Value is not amazing right now on this slate. But that's really it for Washington. The Denver side, Jokic, again, is one of the better spin-ups in my opinion. Love the spot here. Love targeting players against this Washington Wizards team. So I do like Jokic. I do like Jamal Murray too. He's been on fire. Minutes have been way up for him recently too. 38 to like 40 in close games. He's getting a ton of shot attempts up. He's actually doing a better job stuffing the stat sheet too. So yeah, I do like Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr. I think will be decently popular. I just never trust him with Mike Malone. It is a good matchup. He did play 40 minutes the last game, so you can go there. But I would just put him in the same category, some like the Washington Wizards centers. I'm just like, I just never trust the minutes for him. There's been games, not even where he's gotten in foul trouble, where they have just pulled the plug on him early. So that's always the risk with Michael Porter Jr. If I knew he was going to play 38 minutes tonight, I would really like him. But I just never trust Mike Malone with MPJ. Now, Will Barton, I think, is a decent play at 5-1. Probably plays about 30 minutes. Again, the good matchup. I think he's a fair play. Don't mind Monte Morris, too. Right, if he starts again, he probably plays over 30 minutes. They're both decent plays. And then last, I will mention Campazzo for value. He has been getting about mid to high 20s minutes. Hovering around 20 fantasy points last 4 games. So I think he's probably someone we can look to for some salary relief. And then non-G, if you need someone really, really cheap, has played 30 and 24 minutes the last 2 games. He's a super low usage guy, but again, almost min price and value. Not amazing at the moment. Finally, Pelicans and Bucks. So on the Pelicans side, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, this is the highest over under this slate. But I think both these guys will be a little bit lower owned. I think both are firmly in play, but neither are priorities for me. Lonzo Ball is the guy that I think I like the best here for the Pelicans. 35 plus minutes the last 4 games. The guy can stuff the stat sheet. Again, up-tempo game here. I do like Lonzo. I have some interest in Steven Adams too. Will he play over 30 minutes again is the question. But he's actually a decent point per minute guy, and he played 31 minutes the last game. So, like, I do have some interest in Steven Adams as well in the mid-range. You can always go to Josh Hart. Just know like the minutes kind of fluctuate. The production fluctuates as well. But he's flashed him upside. I'm fine taking a shot on him at GPPs. We got Eric Bledsoe revenge game narrative. Minutes were trending down before that last game. So if you're into revenge game narratives, he is priced below 5K. Again, this is an up-tempo game, so some interest there. Hernan Gomez, a 4-5, with Adams back and healthy, just more of a contrarian value play. And that's really it for the Bucks, or for the Pelicans. Finishing up with the Bucks, love Giannis at the top. Again, I think he's one of the better spend-ups for sure. 73, 67, and 66 fantasy points in a blowout the last 3 games. 243 over under. Yeah, so Giannis looks really, really good there at the top. We know Giannis will be, I think, pretty popular. If you want to pivot off that ownership, you can go to a guy, Chris Middleton. He's been struggling besides that 162 fantasy point game. Other than that, he's been hovering in like the 25 to 35 fantasy point range, which makes him more of a contrarian play at his price. Value-wise, I think there's a couple guys that are interesting here. Pat Connaughton, DJ Augustine. I expect 25 to 30 minutes for both those guys. They're both playable because of, again, lack of value, plus the fact that the minutes should be pretty secure on those guys. Bobby Portis, if you want to get riskier value play, if you consider him value of 4.9. Minutes always fluctuate with him, but he's a decent point per minute guy. If I knew he was going to play over 25 minutes tonight, I would probably play him. But yeah, that's really it for the team-by-team breakdown, guys. Left about 10 minutes for questions. Let's refresh Fantasy Labs to make sure we're up to date, and then we can get into it. All right, we are still waiting on some news here. So, all right, let's get some questions. Let's see where we're at. Almost 400 viewers, 82 likes, guys. I appreciate that. All right, Vooch or Embiid? It's a good question. Give me Embiid because he's struggled last couple games. I like buying low on guys, and Embiid has really played poorly last 2 games, but that should lower the ownership. So give me Embiid there. Vooch, yeah, again, it's a tough one. Like, you got to make a lot of tough calls with the spend ups, in my opinion. All right, quickly, D Rose, Josh Richardson, Giannis, Boban, Jamal Murray, Zeke, Embiid, Harden, or Jokic for cash. Oh, Harden or Jokic for cash thoughts? I think I'll lean Harden. But yeah, that's kind of the build I'm leaning towards, is that stars and scrubs build. If Bertans is out, I'm not taking Westbrook just because he'll be capped for rebound attempts because Bertans missed every shot. That's funny. Bledsoe, only good game was against the Bucks, basically. Yeah, I mean, he seems to want revenge. I mean, he's priced below 5K. It's a risk, but, like, again, it's a high over-under. I'm perfectly fine going to Bledsoe there. Thoughts on Westbrook, Ingram, let's see, Westbrook, Ingram, Vooch, Lonzo, Brunson, D-Rose, core. I think it's solid. Again, a little bit contrarian with Ingram in there. Vooch, I think, will be lower owned as well. James Johnson's still in play. I probably wouldn't do it. I'm not sure if he plays with Kleber back. He might. Like, you can do it, but, like, there's a chance he might not play. So that's the risk. Halliburton, revenge for the Knicks passing on him. I mean, again, I would say he's more of a contrarian play, but he's been really good last 2 games. Randall or Westbrook is a good question. I think there's better value at the guard position. So just for that reason, I might lean Randall. But, like, they're very, very similar to me. Aminu or Chuma, I'd rather go to Aminu. I think he has a little more upside. If we were to prioritize one spend up, who would it be? It's a good question. I would say I'll go Giannis. But, like, that is not confident at all. Like, I think he will be one of the more popular ones, but I think Giannis. Embiid, Randall, or Giannis, Westbrook. Probably Giannis, Westbrook there. Beal or Westbrook, Westbrook. I think I would think Kleber hurts James Johnson, but he might start. I think Kleber starts. We'll see. Now, if James Johnson does start, then that's a different story. Then I think you can consider him for value. Now, I don't think he plays 28 minutes again. Maybe he only plays like 15 to 20. Kyrie and Giannis or Randall and Harden. I think I'll lean Kyrie and Giannis there. Favorite spend up of the slate. I don't really have one. Again, I'll lean Giannis, but, like, that's not a strong take. Embiid or Jokic. Jokic is going to be way more popular. I think he's slightly more the optimal play, but I'm fine going to Embiid there in tournaments. Again, kind of like buying low there. Is D Rose a safe play? If Alfred Payton is out, I do like both Rose and a quickly. Probably would prefer whoever starts, but I think the minutes would be pretty secure unless they add Austin Rivers through that rotation, which that's my one concern there. Top spend up is Harden. Yeah, I mean, I think Harden's a really good spend up as well. You can go back to Halliburton. I would not expect that type of production again. But you can go there in GBPs. Nuts blow up potential DK or no. There's always that chance, but I'm not going to... What's the over-under here? I don't think it's a really big spread. 9 points. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to avoid Harden because of it, but, like, that is a little bit worrisome. Harden and Giannis. Yeah, I think those two are probably the 2 most popular spend-ups. But, like, again, there's a lot of good plays in the slate. We'll never take Tatum or Brown ever again. Yeah, that was frustrating. They were 2 of the better plays of the slate for sure. Tatum 4 of 20. Brown did not shoot well. Great matchup too. It's like that's one of those I just like. Stuff like that can happen. Dwight Powell at mid salary for value. You can do it. Just know there's a chance he might only play like 10 minutes. Again, he only played 11 minutes last game, so it's like. I think I'm going to take a shot in one of the Dallas centers. I would just take a shot in Boban and hope he plays 10 to 15 minutes because he's a really good point per minute guy. Thoughts on quickly Brunson, Josh Richardson, Michael Porter Jr., Embiid, Rose, Bagley, and Jokic. I think it's a good lineup. Yeah. Is Taj Gibson one of the best values in all stats? Yes. Yeah, if Taj Gibson starts, I think he's probably the best value at 3-2. Would you guys pick up D Rose or Josh Richardson? I think I'd rather have D Rose. It kind of depends on who starts, but like love the matchup for the Knicks. Embiid, Jokic, or Harden for cash? That's a good question. I think I would go Harden there. Best Knicks value, Rose and Quickly. Taj if there's no Noel. And again, I probably prefer whoever starts at point guard if there's no Alfred Payton. Now, again, if Alfred Payton is in, then I'm not really on Rose and Quickly. Then I'm kind of off them. Value in the small forward position, it's kind of weak. Let's see. I think we got a couple guys. I think Jay Rich is still playable because it's a revenge game narrative. I think he still plays 30 to 35 minutes. I still have some interest in Jay Rich. Pat Connaughton is playable at 4-2. Should play close to 30 minutes, high over under. How many minutes has Alec Burks been playing? Yeah, I don't love that. And then you kind of have like the Orlando guys like Ennis. You have, that's probably it. Winslow if there's no Dylan Brooks. So there's a few guys. You can go to Denny Avdija too if he starts, if there's no Bertans. Thoughts on Harden, Rose, Ingram, Taj, Randall, Fox, Aminu, Powell, Turney, Contrarian. It's pretty contrarian. Again, a Powell, you need the minutes to be there. There's kind of an uneasy feeling about him. Who's going to be able to guard Embiid tonight? Probably no one. They're going to use James Johnson because of Embiid. You think they'll use James Johnson and Embiid? I don't know. Quickly or Rose. I would say whoever starts for cash. Whoever starts at point guard for Alfred Payton. Do you have 2 or 3 stars in your lineup? I think I only have 2 right now. Let's see what I got in here. Oh, no, I do. Wait. Yeah, I have 2 right now. How many cheap guys under 3K is too many for a lineup? I mean, if you're going that complete stars in under 3K, you mean under 4K? I saw, yeah, B's expanding. Thoughts on Alec Burks just can train play. He will be overlooked. Like everyone's going to Rose and Quickly, but like I would rather have Rose and Quickly. Aminu or Ennis? That's a good question. I'll go Aminu because he's slightly cheaper, but that's the only reason. They're pretty similar plays. I'm expecting 20 to 25 minutes. Low usage guys, but it's a good matchup. Again, if you play one of those guys, you're hoping they don't kill you. Like neither stands out as amazing play. Brunson, Monte, Bruce Brown, Quickly, MPJ, Giannis. Okay. Bruce Brown shot 11 of 13, I think it was that last game. I never have a great feeling about him. Johnson is physically defender, only guy that can use an Embiid. Avoid Mavs bigs now. I mean, you can still go there. They're just really risky. Like, I have no idea what the minut's going to be for the Mavs bigs. So, they're still in play. But, again, I have absolutely no idea what the minut's going to be. Yeah, I don't know if James Johnson will be on Embiid much. Josh Richardson or Hardaway? Jay Rich. Yeah, I think you can play Lonzo and Bledsoe together. If Bledsoe's going to play over 30 minutes again, then yeah, because Bledsoe's priced below 5K, Lonzo's like 6K. 7,500 for Halliburton, yeah, that's too much. Luka or Harden? Give me Harden. I think more the stars in Scrubs build. Yeah, try to get 2 stars in at least. You can go 2 to 3. I don't think I would go to Barrett. I mean, what's his price? He's at like 5.5. It's just a price point thing for him. It's like minutes kind of fluctuate. Probably get somewhere around high 20s to low 30s. Somewhat reliant in the scoring. I think it's just like a subpar play. Again, you can go there to get different. I just think that, he's not an optimal play. What under 5.5? There's probably a few guys here. I think Will Barton because of the matchup. I think Steven Adams, if he continues to play about 30 minutes, those are both decent plays. You can always go to Josh Hart in tournaments. He's flashed upside. You can even go to Bledsoe too. Revenge game narrative. Those are probably the guys I would look to in that range. Terrence Ross, thoughts a little bit too pricey for me. Harden, Monte Morris, Barton, Kleber, Jokic, Forbes. Yeah, again, Forbes, I never love as value because he's so reliant on the scoring. 100 likes. Oh, we are at 100 likes. Thank you, guys. 4,200 for shooting guard spot. Would you play Composer or who do you recommend? Let's see. Probably would be him. Yeah. Yeah, I think I would go Composer there. Because I think we probably get 25 to 28 minutes from him. It's a good matchup. Yeah, I think I would go there. Thoughts on Winslow? If there's no Dylan Brooks, I'm a little bit more confident with his minutes. I think we get 20-ish, maybe a little bit more. He's got a lot of shot attempts up, so I think he's in play for value. Giannis or Randall? I think Giannis. Randall going to have less pressure now that he's an all-star. Yeah, Aminu or Denny if he starts. Probably would still lean Aminu, but that would be close. 3 stars and an 8K guy, too many stars for one lineup? No, I think that's fine. Any value play you feel good about? I think if Alfred Payton gets ruled out, I'd feel pretty good about those Knicks guards. But again, my one concern is Austin Rivers being out of the rotation. Jamal Murray or Zion's a good question. Depends what the rest of your roster looks like. If you have no Nuggets, I would go Jamal Murray. If you have no Pelicans, I'd go Zion. Right? So depends what the rest of your roster looks like there. Yeah, Embiid I think is a nice bounce back spot. Middleton, too much. I think he's just a contrarian play at his price. Giannis will be popular, so if you want to use him to get different, you can do it. Can you stack New Orleans Milwaukee? Of course. The highest over under the slate should be played fast. You got some cheap guys that are in play on both sides. Yeah. Connaughton or Dorian Finney-Smith? I guess Connaughton, but yeah. Harden, Giannis value. I think that's probably close to the optimal build, I would say. Those are the two spend ups I think are the optimal ones. They're not necessarily going to be the best spend ups. I think MCW is an interesting play in the mid range. Should play about 30 minutes. Don't love the price on him. Would have wished he was a little bit cheaper. All right, guys, 1 minute left. Then I do it to get out of here. TLC or Winslow? If there's no Dylan Brooks, I think I would rather take a shot in Winslow there. Jay Rich cheap. Yeah, I think Jay Rich is a solid value play. Revenge game narrative for him too. Fox will be super, super low owned. Ingram contrarian, yes. I think Ingram and Zion will both be low owned. Zion or Randall, give me Randall there. Lopez or Campozo? I go Campozo, I guess. Paul George or Tobias Harris? Both very contrarian. Give me Paul George. Holmes or Bagley? Holmes. Westbrook, Murray, and Jokic a possible stack too hard? No, you can do that. I'm fine stacking that game too. James Ennis, both him and Aminu are probably the wing values I would look to in the Magic. Don't really feel good about either, but if we get 20 to 25 minutes, you're just hoping they can get you, hoping they don't kill you. Again, it's a good matchup, so that's what I'm kind of expecting minutes-wise. Yeah, I think you can play D Rose and quickly together. Yeah. If there's no Alfred Payton. Debating between Fox and Ja. Yeah, the both will be lower owned. Claxton, I didn't mention Claxton. This is the last one, and then I'm going to get out here, guys. Orlando is a big team. He is actually a decent point per minute guy. Will he play? If Jeff Green plays, I don't think Claxton will be in the rotation. If Jeff Green is out, they might have to use him a little bit, but I am not convinced about that. So, yeah, super high risk, high reward value play with him. All right. Oh, Jeff Green did just get ruled out. Okay. So, yeah, you can take a shot there. Still not convinced he's going to play. But if he does get the backup 5, I would expect probably 15-ish minutes from him, maybe a little bit more. But, yeah, that's going to do it for the live stream, guys. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you all back here to close out the week strong on Friday.